Hello out there. We're on the air. Oh, sorry, Rumble. Not that you're going to hear this, but I forgot to loop you in today. Whoops. Actually, I might do a test run after this. Can we? Are we live here? Yeah, we're good. Okay. All right, we got forgot to do Rumble, but that's okay. I'm actually going to try Rumble today. I just noticed they got a Rumble Studio now, which might actually replace StreamYard for me. So we'll see. Anyways, it looks like the Zap stream is back up and running, I believe. No, it's not. Kind of is. I see a couple people over there. It says 0, but I see Josh is over there and Tom is over there. But it won't load for me, so it might just be working through Nostr again today. Been having some issues with Zapstream. It's unfortunate, but that's part of life, you know? Josh says she's up. I have no issues. Okay. Well, welcome. What the heck's going on here? What the heck is going on here? All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. You might have noticed my shirt already, but if not, Canada. So I guess the rumor around Canada right now is that the U.S. is actually going to become the 11th province. Oh, it was a good game, though. It was a good game. It was probably the second game I've cared about in the last 4 years of hockey. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a, diehard hockey fan anymore, because I'm not. But it was still good to see. Whenever you got your country involved, it's always a good thing. So, anyways, shout out to Canada. We're back where we belong, back on top. And I'm sure we'll have some comments in here about it. But anyways, welcome to the Friday edition of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This show focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. So welcome. We got a lively chat this morning. It's going to be a good show. We got a couple things to watch, but start with some coffee. And I got to plug my phone in because it's dead, almost completely dead. I had a meeting this morning at 6 a.m. How about that? 6 a.m. I got to say that was the first, that was the first 6 a.m. meeting I've ever had before. It was pretty, and I found out about it in overtime last night of the hockey game. So anyways, it was good. It was a meeting about Superbacked. So I'm always happy to do those. There's been a lot of people interested in Superbacked. And I think if there's anybody out there listening to this right now or later with a sizable balance of Bitcoin, I would say about 50 grand would be the threshold for this. So if you got $50,000 worth of Bitcoin right now, you should seriously be working towards, you don't have to set it up like next week, but start thinking about it, start working towards a multi-sig and or the Superbacked. You have to. It's $50,000 today. It's probably going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 in the next couple of years, X that. And you don't want to be in a vulnerable position here. You want to make sure that no matter what happens in your life, anything, your Bitcoin is going to be safe. And that's essentially what this solution provides, in addition to some inheritance stuff, which I think that is a very lacking subject in Bitcoin. So we're trying to change that. We got the Superbacked protocol, security and inheritance protocol, and it's been good. It's been really good. So anyways, let's get to some questions here. Not questions, but some chats. We got Arnie's wallet here. Arnie's been going a little bit crazy this morning, so we'll hope, cross our fingers that he's going to be okay. Just buzzing around mostly. I think he's in a Friday mood. That's the best way to explain it. But his wallet will be live, so if anybody, the magic trick is to scan this, send a couple sats, and then this screen will light up green. So you can do that, or you can use the Zap stream. Looks like we got a couple people zapping over in the stream today. We got Josh zapped 888 sats. Oh, it's Fat Zap Friday. I forgot about that. I didn't even title the show today. No title. Forgot to tell everybody it's Fat Zap Friday. I'm pointing fingers at Arnie, but maybe we got to look in the mirror here, Jor. Josh says, no disrespect to our American neighbors. You Yanks had a fucking great team. Could have went either way, to be honest. That is true. And Tom says, no question Canada is better, but we're closing the gap. That is also true. A lot of young talent in the development program. Olympics will be great next year. I actually agree with that. I agree with that theory. And a lot of things. Actually, I've noticed that in both hockey and golf, because typically Canada was, well, we are a very cold country where growing up, you play hockey. That's kind of what you do. And in America, states like Florida, California, some of the warmer states, they couldn't play hockey all year. But that's really changed in the last 20, 25 years, where they're pretty much having all year round, you can play hockey in the US now. So they've kind of caught up to our development program here in Canada, which is good to see, of course. But it's the same thing for golf. In Florida, California, Palm Springs, they could play golf all year. Carolina, whereas in Canada here, we couldn't. In where I'm from, Manitoba, we can golf for about 5 months a year, like of good golf. So that's why there wasn't very many Canadians who were like on the big tours, because we just couldn't golf. But now, again, with technology, with where the world has moved from to, even my small town has a golf simulator now. So we can now golf all year. And that's kind of shone through in the PGA Tour and the professional tours in golf, is that there's a lot more Canadians on there than there was 10 or 15 years ago. So both are kind of shifting, which is good. I think that both Canada and US will be powerhouses in golf and hockey for the years to come. So that's kind of exciting. We get some Fad Zaps coming in over on Zapstream. Right on. Let me share this on Nostra quickly so we can get some people in here. We got a lot of things to talk about. It might be a longer show today, actually. So what do you think of that, Arnie? He's not into that. We got Arnie here. Okay, let's get this shared with the world. Zapstream, we're live, baby. You know what? Let's start with something from Nostra. Actually, I got a couple different things too. Some housekeeping notes. But I wanted to share a message with somebody from Nostra, actually, which is kind of cool. Kind of the reason I do this stuff. But before we do that, let's get to some zaps here. We got Spaceman zapped 21 sats. The Grinder. Good morning, Grinder. Zapped 121 sats. Daniel with a fat zap of 888 sats. Same with My Path to Fire. Wow. Zapped 888 sats. And James says the Fountain app is streaming smooth. What? We're on Fountain? That's huge if true. Wow, we are. That's cool. Look at that. The top of Fountain. Wow. I was like trying to figure out how to do that, but I guess it just did it. That is awesome. So how do I watch it on here now? What does it show? Yeah, it shows the Nostra chat. Look at that. Wow. That is very cool. Very impressive. That's amazing. I'm pumped about that. I'm very pumped about that. That made my day. Cool. Well, let's get some, let's see how many zaps we can get for the first day on Fountain here. So thanks for pointing that out, James. That's awesome. That's really cool. Ahsoka also zapped 88 sats. So thank you, Ahsoka. Appreciate that. And Grinder said, yeah, Fountain added support for the Nostra stream events. That's really, I'm blown away by that. Okay, well, we can't completely disregard the YouTubes here. Oh, I want to get to this so quickly. My Nostra message that we got. This is the exact reason I do this show. Messages like this. I mean, nothing crazy, but it's pretty cool. This is actually from a fella named El Bitcoin Mander. Quite the name. It looks like he's from the U.S., but Mexican roots. So El Bitcoin Mander. Anyways, he said, George, just want to thank you for all you do. A month ago, I was content with living life as a wage slave. But since finding you and your friend from Maple Bitcoin, I've got a time horizon of being financially free and living my best life. Thanks, George. I watch all of your videos. Super cool. I love receiving messages like that. That's as good as gold, or as good as Bitcoin nowadays. So that's good. I think that's the point of this channel. I think that there's a lot of people kind of going through that exact same phase in their life, you might say, in terms of realizing, do I want to spend the rest of my life working for somebody else? Because again, it doesn't really matter how much Bitcoin you have. And we're actually going to talk about, or we're going to show a clip from Michael Saylor at the CPAC conference or whatever it was called. But he's talking about the same thing. And I kind of agree with along the lines of that, is like, it doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you have. If you're not securing it properly using something like multi-sig or encryption. But B, if you're still spending all of your days and all of your time working for somebody else who has the ability to stop that flow at any time, you're not really that free, or you're not really that sovereign, in my opinion. So the perfect combination of sovereignty to me is Bitcoin, high security of that Bitcoin, and working for yourself and earning your own income, betting on yourself essentially. So along those lines, what I'm going to start doing every Wednesday going forward is, we're not going to be doing shows on YouTube anymore. I'm actually going to be doing a private kind of course. It was supposed to be an 8-week course, but I think it's actually going to be longer than that, like maybe 6 months. So it's going to be the pilot program. If you want to be part of that, if you're somebody who's thinking about leaving your job and working for yourself and kind of going all in on that kind of lifestyle, it's going to be perfect for you. So you can join. We've had like 10 people join Living the Future in the last couple of days. In the show notes, you can join the 365 or Living the Future, and you're going to have access to that every week, plus a lot of support from the community. So consider that. I know there's probably a lot of people who watch the show every day who have been kind of procrastinating or thinking about joining. So that's going to start next Wednesday, the first part of that. We'll call it a course. I don't have a name for it or anything yet, but it's about sovereignty mostly. Well, the focus is going to be around becoming more sovereign overall. But look at this, the fountain chat, or that we might call it the fountain chat now. The Zapstream chat is buzzing today. Really cool. Grinder says, by the way, anyone from the US having issues with watching, buffering, loading, VPN into a different country, and you'll be fine. And Josh says, yeah, even here in Canada, I run a VPN and usually don't have any issues streaming. Cool. So the unknown disc, I think that's the unknown disciple. It only says the unknown disc, but it says there's no gold at Fort Knox. What happens next? I actually don't think that that's true. I don't think, even if there was no gold last year at this time, I think when they go in there and open the doors, there's going to be gold in there magically. It's going to magically appear. But I've been listening to a couple different theories on it. I've actually listened to Scott Bessent himself say yesterday that they're actually not going to be revaluing the gold. So it's the takeaway I got from the interview with Scott, I think it's Bessent, is that they are going to, well, he didn't say that they were going to audit the gold. Trump said it though. So I'm going along those lines. He said that the gold is there. He said that they audit it every year. Don't know if I believe that, but this is the guy we need to be trusting here, I guess. And he said that they're not going to be revaluing the gold from $40 where it sits today, $40 on the balance sheet per ounce, to 3,000, which is the fair market value of the gold today. So they won't be doing that. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I really don't. It's going to really depend on how much gold is there and then kind of what they do after that. It sounds like they're going to be monetizing something within the balance sheet. And I don't know what that means yet. They just keep saying they're going to monetize the balance sheet. So Whatever that is, I think it's really positive news for Americans. I don't know what it's going to do to Bitcoin, but I don't think Bitcoin's really going to care very much. Anybody in Bitcoin now understands that gold is far superior, or Bitcoin is far superior to gold. All Bitcoiners know that and understand that. Gold bugs, on the other hand, haven't really come to that realization yet. So to me, the demand for gold has peaked, completely peaked. Everybody who wants to have gold owns gold. But the demand for Bitcoin is not even close to being fully realized yet. So to me, it doesn't really matter what happens with Fort Knox. I think that Bitcoin's going to continue in the exact same trend. But if there is any uncertainty or uncertainty within the gold market, I think that people will start moving over to Bitcoin. Without a doubt, I think it would happen either way, especially if you look at the age demographic of the people who hold gold right now. All of that wealth is being held in. I actually did a show, and we should give a shout out here to Bodhi's channel. I did a full show pretty much talking about this yesterday for almost an hour and a half. Actually, it might have been an hour and a half, which was after the regular show. And we did it on the Bitcoin Generations channel. So you can either find the video on my channel or Bitcoin Generations. But I spent, again, an hour talking about gold, the proper allocation for baby boomers, and really anybody out there based on your age and knowledge level within Bitcoin, how much percent of your portfolio should be in Bitcoin. So check that out. It was actually a really good episode. So if you got some time today, there you go. Ahsoka zap 21 sats over there. Thank you, Ahsoka. Matt zap 10 sats. Thank you, Matt. I'm just trying to. Okay, we're all right. We got a lot of stuff to get through today. I don't know how much. Killers here. We got Bird Meta. We got Bitcoin Buddha. Morning, Bitcoin Buddha. Ginger. Good to see you, my friend. I sent you a message back yesterday. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I did reply. Good morning, Ryan. Clean your machine. Oh, we got a couple fat zaps here. We got an anonymous zap of our favorite one. Well, not our favorite one, but one of our favorites of 1,111 sats to Arnie's wallet. And somebody just sent in 8,000. Oh, Letha. Holy. 8,888 sats. Happy Fat Zap Friday, Letha. And it's important to note that she spelled fat with a PH. Letha is awesome. Thank you, Letha. Very much appreciate that. Mertz over here. Good morning, amigos. Hello out there. Ahsoka. Matt says, team, the sun is up, Bitcoin is running. Or good morning, team. The sun is up, Bitcoin is running, and Team Canada is on top of the hockey world. All is well. Jay, good morning. Can you feel the pump? Are we pumping? I don't know. We got to get back to 100K here eventually. We've kind of been sniffing at it. Bird Meta, stacking sats, as many sats as I can, boys. Nice work. Letha, good morning. Thank you for this fat zap. Duncan, good morning. Ian, everybody's here today. Bitcoin Halving says, you look like Mike Hoffman. I know I've said this a few times. Who the heck is Mike Hoffman? Is that not an NHL player, Mike Hoffman? I don't know. Could be. I know there used to be a Mike Hoffman that played with the Ottawa Senators. I don't know if that's the same guy you're talking about. Hey, Stephen, good morning. Stephen was one of our one of the new members in the community. We'll just say that. Oh man, this is a good tip from Mert. And I'll say a couple different things on this, but the question is, Jor, how can we prepare our minds to stay calm when and if it gets to 8 million, 10 million per coin? Are you mentally prepared? Some tips might be helpful for the community, I believe. I mean, that's a big part of it. When we're thinking about the future here of Bitcoin and what's, coming next for us, it's a big part of it. It's almost more important than the physical setup here. Like the first thing you got to take care of as a Bitcoiner right now, especially if you're holding like a significant amount, I would say if you hold over $10,000 worth of Bitcoin right now, I know it probably doesn't. Oh, to some it'll seem like a lot. To me, it seems like a lot, but for some people, 10K might not be enough to dedicate a whole bunch of time to protecting, and that's fine. But you should still be taking actionable steps to improving your security slowly, learning more, learning about multisig, learning about encryption, and just really immersing yourself in the rehearsal and the process of it, making sure it's solid. You have to be taking this time right now to make sure that your foundation is completely solid, because it's like building a house. You want this house to be here in 50, 100, 150 years. And any house that survives that long has a really solid foundation. And anything with a solid foundation that you're building on top of, you can stack as much as you want on top of that. And so that's what you need to be focused on here, is obviously compounding your Bitcoin, earning as much as you can, getting as much as you can, and stacking on top of that foundation that you build, that fortress that you build. So everybody, I would say, again, a threshold of about $10,000 worth, you should be thinking about it. If you have more than that, you got $50,000 worth of Bitcoin right now, you should be taking more serious action right now in terms of getting it into a multisig, encrypting your backups, things along those lines, really mapping out all the different threat models that you have and counteracting those. So that's kind of the physical, but you're asking about the mental here. I think the physical has to be kind of done first. But then mentally, I don't really know what the tips would be for it. I think that the best thing you can do is just continue learning about Bitcoin, because that's the one thing that's really helped me get through the run-ups and the drops, is just understand what you're holding here. And so the more time and energy you commit to learning about Bitcoin and understanding Bitcoin and why it's so valuable, it's going to be a lot easier when it shoots up. You're not going to be as tempted to sell. And when it crashes down, you're not going to be tempted to sell at all. So again, it's really just immersing yourself in it, taking the time and energy and effort to understand it, build out your foundation, and then just keep stacking on top of that. A couple different, the last thing I would say to that is you should be taking about 5% of your total stack. So if you got $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, you should be investing at least $5,000 into protecting that. That's kind of the minimum for it. So take 5% of your stack and invest that into your security for it. I mean, if you got $1,000, $2,000 worth, it's probably not worth it. I would probably just buy more Bitcoin with that. But, at that level, you should be taking about 5% of your Bitcoin stack and investing in your security. And a couple things of that would be, getting some devices, maybe setting up a multi-sig. That might be about $1,000. Having somebody like a collaborative custody. We offer something like that. It's about $2,000 for a lifetime membership. So that's $3,000. And then get some, find some other courses to take, or join a community, join Living the Future. It's like $60 a year. And your knowledge and conviction is going to grow 10x, 100x from there. So that's the kind of stuff you got to be thinking about. It's not like one or two things you have to do. You just kind of have to round yourself out, I think, within Bitcoin. So that's what I would say to that. And I think that there's already a couple courses, speaking of Living the Future, $60 a year for that. And you're going to get access to all the private shows, the community there, the course we're going to be doing starting next week. We got a course in there called Bitcoin Generations. And if you want to, spend $200 a year, you can do the 365 days of Bitcoin, which is like a full course on growing your conviction essentially within Bitcoin and learning about security, private key management, UTXO management, everything you need to know. So that's what I would say. That's a really good question and something that we all should be thinking about. If you're watching this video right now, you're going to be in the very, very small percentage of wealth in the future. And you have to be thinking about that and preparing for it. Don't wait for it to happen. It's going to happen, but don't wait for the time to come where you start doing something about it. What the fuck are you whining about? Stop. My goodness, that is annoying. He's about 5 seconds away from the door shutting on him here. That's just like nails on a chalkboard, that noise. And I don't know what his deal is right now, but anyways, let's keep it rolling here. No more whining. Buck 52, good morning. Jay, good afternoon, everyone from the UK. Hope you're having a cracking weekend. I love that. Bitcoin's moving up today. Is it? Okay, let's check. What do we got for the price today? I had metrics today, but we're not going to have time to do them, I don't think. We got too much going on. Anyways, we got a couple more zaps over here in the fountain stream. I see Phoenix Falconers over there. We got Mark using fountain today. And Mark zapped 21 sats. Yeah, Hoffman played for Ottawa. Okay, is that who we're talking about? I don't know. I haven't checked the comments here, but yeah, that would make sense. I could see that. I could see that comparison. And Duncan zapped 888 sats. Thank you, Duncan. Fat Zap Friday. Appreciate that, my friend. All right. And we got one more to report here. 888 sats to Arnie's wallet. And it just has a wolf emoji. So I'm thinking that was from Josh. I'm getting pretty good at between the zap amount and the comments. I'm getting pretty good at figuring out who it's from. We're not moving much. We just crashed. What are we talking about here? We crashed. We're on a downtrend. Hey, Lox Guy, good morning. Holy cow, everybody's here today. Laugh Pad, good morning. Tired of winning yet? I'm not either. Rick, good morning. Tommy D. Sheesh, Magish. Andrew says, if the United States held Bitcoin instead of gold, every person in the world could see it and know it moved. Absolutely. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. That's the hidden secret about Bitcoin, is that it's going to provide transparency to the people who need it, like public companies, like governments, like states, like cities, municipalities. It's going to add transparency to the people who need transparency. And it's going to allow for privacy for the people who should be private, which means us. So there are already ways to transact privately within Bitcoin. I'm sure those ways will be built out in the future. I mean, even if you look at like the last 4 or 5 years now, like the amount of strides that Lightning has taken in the last 5 years, and eCash and Liquid, like we're still in the game hasn't even started yet, and there's already like really solid ways to transact privately from peer to peer. So that's what it's going to do. It's going to allow those other layers where people can transact privately using this currency called Bitcoin, but it's going to provide it's going to require transparency from the people who need it, like the U.S. government. Greg, good morning. Santino, Tommy D says, write your plan down. Write your plan for 58K and 580K Bitcoin. 100%. Dan's not feeling well. How come? Why aren't you feeling well? About what? We're feeling well. We're feeling fine. Arnie's whining, but other than that, we're good. He's gone out of the picture now. He doesn't want to be on the live stream whining. Bitcoin is going up forever. Yes, it is. Okay. What else do we got? We caught up to the messages here. So what else do we have to talk about today? We got Al Bitcoiner. Uploaded the video. Oh, this was the last piece of housekeeping that I wanted to mention. Is I logged into YouTube today, and they took about 30 or 40 subscribers from me overnight. Don't know why. No idea. No reason given. So what I was just going to say is like, just double check. Take like 10 seconds right now, whatever you're watching on your laptop, your phone. If you were subscribed to the channel, just make sure that you're still subscribed. I mean, it's not a huge number, but it's still like, what happened? I don't know if it's something that YouTube regular does. I have no idea. So anyways, I just wanted to say, if you were subscribed to the channel, make sure that you just double check that you still are. And the one thing that really helps, I think, with the channel and get in front of more eyes here is the notifications. So if you're, a regular watcher of the show, you like watching the videos, consider at least clicking the notification thing there. It helps the channel. So it's a really easy thing, low friction and free thing to do that can, help support the mission here. Okay. And I noticed that this is so crazy to me. 1.5 million people, 1.5 million people have been on my channel before. 1.5 million. And there's 8,000 people who have subscribed. I think there's I think it's like 60-40 for the people who watch the videos and don't subscribe versus 40% who do subscribe. So I don't know. It's just like, I think it's a really fiat mindset of like not wanting to subscribe, not wanting to support other people. So it's a hill we got to climb, but we can do it slowly. All right. We got Mad Zap 10 and Mad Zap 1000. Wow. Letha says, I'm on Fountain Daily Bitcoin Journey, but I only see old episodes. Okay. So Letha, what you do there, actually just what I did, is you don't have to search the Daily Bitcoin Journey. I don't know if it's connected or not. But if you go to Fountain, you should actually just be able to go to the home page. So if you just click the home page there right at the top, it should show my live stream there right at the very top. From home. You don't have to search Daily Bitcoin Journey or anything. It should just be at the top of the homepage there. That is so cool. I can't get over that. And it looks really good too. Like I'm watching it on Fountain right now, and it looks like a really solid stream. So that's cool because everybody I think everybody I think should be on Fountain if you have any Bitcoin, if you're interested in Bitcoin. There's a lot. First of all, there's pretty much any podcast that exists is on Fountain. So it's not like specifically for Bitcoiners or Bitcoin content. Every podcast is on there, I think, as long as they have an RSS feed, it streams through Fountain. So everybody here should be on Fountain. Whether you're on iOS, Android, it's available to anybody. And you can actually go on a Fountain every single day and listen to different podcasts and earn sats for that. So that's a call to action to everybody today, is if you don't have Fountain yet, just download the app, set up a profile, start listening to podcasts, and you can start earning sats every day. It's usually about 10, 20, 30 sats per day, but it's better than zero. So everybody should be on Fountain regardless, whether you're watching the stream live or not on there. But it's a solid app, and they're building some really cool things. I'm just blown away right now. Also, the fact that I had to do nothing there. That, to me, within Bitcoin, our biggest point of friction right now is just having to jump through so many hoops. It's not easy for the average person to figure all this out. Obviously, just think about yourself. Think about how many hours you've spent in Bitcoin, trying out these different things, learning about Bitcoin, versus somebody who's spent 0 hours. It's a steep learning curve. And so I think the more things like this that we can have in place, the better off we're going to be. And these things being built, the freedom tech within Bitcoin, although Fountain's still pretty centralized, I wouldn't call it freedom tech necessarily, but it's integrated with Bitcoin. So we have to be using these things. If we want these things to be around in 5 years from now, we have to be using these things. So anyways, I appreciate everybody here on YouTube. Obviously, it's a big part of spreading the message here, but consider, hopping on the Fountain, even if you don't do the live streams on there, but make sure you're at least earning some free sats every day on Fountain. All right. Josh says Arnie needs his app, helps encourage him to be disruptive. You know what would be cool? If we had like a shock collar for Arnie, just like a small one. I know there's a lot of dogs who have shock collars, and I'm not a big fan of it. Arnie's never really had one. Some need it just because of their, I shouldn't say that. I just think they had poor training probably. But it'd be cool if you had like a shock collar that every time a zap came in, it like zapped him. Or every time a zap came in, it fed him a treat. That'd be cool. That'd be a lot less harmful to him. He would like that more. There's already like a page on Nostr who does that with goats. So every time you send a zap in, it feeds the goats. We're living in crazy times here, folks. Matt's just going crazy over here. It looks like the fountain's it must be pretty easy to zap on fountain. Okay, what did I miss here? All right, Matt zapped 1,000. Matt zapped 10. Daniel zapped 10. Matt zapped another 10. This is cool. But Josh says, Jora, would a good costing security setup include a start 9 as well? I know eventually setting up a node is important to the network as well. Just wondering on the security aspect of if it really matters. Yeah, I would say that start 9 should absolutely be in everybody's future here. If you're watching this right now, start 9 should be in your future plans. Personally, I think security is much more important than that at this stage. I think you should kind of get your security setup built out, multi-sig encryption, and then look to a start 9. And the start 9 is going to allow you to do a couple different things. It's going to hook up to you're going to be able to run a node. It's going to hook up to your Sparrow wallet, which is hooked up to your multi-sig. And the nice thing about that is you're no longer connecting to a public node. So nobody else is going to see your balances and transactions. So when you hook it up to your start 9, you're going to be the one auditing that. Essentially what you're doing when you're hooking up to a public node is A, you're giving away your privacy, but B, you're trusting somebody else. And not that the trust is like a big component within that, because I don't think there's a whole lot of mempools that are like, have faulty ledgers, but it's part of it. So plus with the start 9, there's going to be a whole slew of things you can do with this in the future. That's kind of why I have one now, is I'm just kind of trying to familiarize myself with how to use it, the things available to it, because it's going to be a big part of my life. It's a big part of like being a sovereign individual, is having your own server. Instead of relying on other people, you're relying on yourself. And with that, I mean, even today, I've been using an app on my start 9 called RoboSats, where it connects you with a peer-to-peer somebody else in the world, and you can buy and sell Bitcoin with them. It's not going through RoboSats. The payment goes directly to the other person, which is really badass. So I've been doing that with like small transactions, let's say $200, $300, just to kind of familiarize myself with it, make sure everything's good. And, it's probably going to be a big part of the way I buy Bitcoin in the future. So yeah, it's a big part of it. I wouldn't prioritize it. I would prioritize your security first and really getting a good handle on that. But yeah, start 9. So I think within the show notes, there's a discount code for it. But if anybody wants to order one, like I would honestly consider, I just put it in the chat there, use that discount code 88 SATS, 88 SATS, and you get 5% off your start 9. So one thing I would say is like, if you're somebody who doesn't have like an excess of money, I would be buying Bitcoin right now instead of a start 9. But if money's not necessarily an issue for you in your life, I would just order a start 9. And even if you like take a little while to open it up, figure it out, that's fine. I would just do this. This applies to hardware devices. This applies to start 9s. This applies to pretty much anything in Bitcoin right now. Order it while you can, before anything happens with like the supply chain and they start stopping things at borders and stuff like that. Just get ahead of it. If you have the financial means, don't go into debt getting one. But yeah, use that code at start 9, get a bigger one. I got the 4 terabyte one, I think it is. The Pure, but they're back in stock, and you save about $60, $70 US with that code. So that's what I would say. Letha just said, I got, $55 US with the code. All right, what else we got here? The zaps are flowing in. 10 sats, I like it. The 10 sats are flowing in. That must just be like an easy thing on Fountain to do, because there's a lot of 10 sats flowing in here. Matt zapped another 10. Duncan zapped 10. Matt zapped another 10. And Matt zapped another 88. Wow, Matt's fingers are getting a good workout today. Thank you, Matt. All right. Mert says, this is a good question. What if we lost one of our multi-sig devices? Think about it. What would happen? That's exactly why you have a multi-sig setup, is because even if one of your devices is lost, even if somebody hacks into your device, even if one of your devices burns in a fire, it doesn't matter, because you still have 2 devices somewhere else that you could sign that transaction with and move the Bitcoin into a new wallet. So what I would say, if something were to happen like that, what I would do is I would take my other 2 devices. I would move the Bitcoin. Well, I guess first you'd have to set up like a new multi-sig setup. So you take the 2 devices you have, you get a third device, you set up a new multi-sig, and then you move the Bitcoin from your old multi-sig to your new one. And then you're back. That's the whole point of a multi-sig. If you have your Bitcoin in a multi-sig and it's done properly and everything's backed up properly, you add encryption to that, that's a whole nother layer. But even just with multi-sig, it's going to be very hard for somebody to take your Bitcoin. It's going to be very hard for you to lose your Bitcoin. That's the ultimate setup that you want with Bitcoin, is multi-sig. You want to remove the single point of failure. And single point of failure, if you were to lose a device or lose your recovery or both, you're locked out. Or if somebody finds your 12 words on Steal, they now have your Bitcoin. So this is a very important subject. I've been doing my best to, yell it from the top of the mountain here. Some people have listened. Some people are probably still dragging their feet. But this is absolutely something that people should be thinking about today, not in the future. Duncan says zapping from fountain is easier. Oh, I want to try this, but I got to remember we're live here. I love that. Cool. Rick says, even if I can't do a lot, no one can say I don't support those I like. That's 100% true, Rick. And I very much appreciate that. Honestly, I get it. Like not everybody's in a position financially where they can support the channel here. I get it. But the least you can be doing is, showing up, subscribing, commenting, sharing these videos on your social platforms. It's as good as gold to me. So thank you, Rick. Maybe you installed Fountain after a few drinks. Probably. Speaking of drinks, it is Friday today. I wish there was some Baileys in this coffee. Mert says the pyramids of tomorrow are being built and will remain here for many years, like Giza. That's a really good way to look at it. That you need to be taking this time, this very unique opportunity that we have in world history. Like, how many people, when you really zoom out here, I know that we're just like here right now, which is kind of weird. But like zoom out and just think about like how amazing it is that we're here right now. If you're like me and believe that Bitcoin is the single greatest discovery in human history, you get to be here for it. And this opportunity right now, not only to buy, convert fake dollars for the best asset that has ever existed before the rest of the people figure it out. But you also have a chance now to prepare for it and build your foundation right now for when that time comes, when we get really serious about this stuff. Because right now, 100K Bitcoin is a joke. Like it's a joke that Bitcoin is $100,000. No metric, nothing really makes sense that Bitcoin is $100,000 right now. Compared to gold, even if you say Bitcoin equals gold, Bitcoin should be $1 million today. You look at the hash rate, what it was a couple of years ago versus the price, and compare it to today, the hash rate and the price, it should be about $400,000 Bitcoin based on the hash rate. You look at the mining rewards today versus a couple of years ago, the price of Bitcoin should be about $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. So you build this out now before that happens. That's kind of the idea with this channel, with Bitcoin Citadel, with Super Backed. That's what we're doing. We're just building a foundation that's going to make your Bitcoin, which is the best battery that's ever existed, it's going to be there in 50 years from now. Because other than that, and actually I should give a shout out here to Daniel. We had a Bitcoin Citadel meeting yesterday, and Daniel said a really important quote, which is that it's not about stacking sats, it's about keeping the sats, which is very true. There's way too many people out there who are obsessed with getting as much Bitcoin as possible, and they're completely ignoring the security, the inheritance, that side of things. And in 20 years from now, if you don't look after that part of it, you're not even going to have your Bitcoin. So it doesn't matter how much you have today. If you're not protecting it and securing it properly, it doesn't matter. So shout out to Daniel. Great quote there. It's not about stacking the sats. It's about keeping the sats. All right. Steve just bought more. All right. So I did a good sales pitch to Bitcoin. But I'm not trying to pitch you on Bitcoin. I'm trying to pitch you on securing the Bitcoin. Okay, well, I actually had like a lot of different things to talk about today. I figured it was going to be a long show. Hopefully not too long, but we'll get to a couple things here. Where should we begin? Let's maybe begin with the Nostr news. What is this? Oh, this was cool. Yeah, this is just cool. This isn't anything like crazy or anything. So I've actually been doing like every day this week, and I'm going to be doing this into the future. Oh, look at Arnie's finally sleeping. You good? All right, we'll keep him there. We'll keep him in the quiet. But every day I've been doing something called Nostr News here, where I just share like a post or like a piece of news, anything from Nostr, just to kind of help promote Nostr, get more people on there, and show who's on Nostr right now and the kind of content that's happening and being posted and shared on Nostr. So I found this account yesterday. I don't even know where, how, or why, but the account's called Jamalyn Flower. I don't know. She looks like a roller skater though. So this video I watched yesterday, and I was very impressed with it. So I wanted to share it with everybody on here. A video of her roller skating. I don't even know what this is, but it's cool. So let's check this out.
Yeah.
The dog liked it. So that was from who? Jamalyn Flower. I don't know if I can put her NPub in here or not, but anyways, search her on Nostr. Give her a follow on there. Pretty cool. Roller skating, I guess it's called, or quad skate. I don't know. Looks pretty cool though. And nice to see the dog's ass there right at the end of the video. So that's the kind of stuff you'll find on Nostr. No real relation to Bitcoin or anything. But the cool thing about that is, let me see if I can see. Let me see if I can find her right now and see what kind of zap she got on that. So the cool thing about Nostr is you can actually share anything on there: videos, pictures, expertise, and people can send you Bitcoin instead of a like. Oh, she's only got 68 followers on there, so this might maybe give her a little bit of a boost. But let's follow her. And let's see what she got for that post. Wow. 2,300 sats. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That's why everybody here needs to be on Nostr right now, is you can share anything. Like this girl just posted a picture of her rollerblading, and she got 2,300 sats for that. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing to me. It never would have been possible before Bitcoin, before Lightning. None of this stuff would have been possible. Imagine trying to send $2 to somebody, or like numerous people, I guess, sending 50 cents, 40 cents, good luck. The fee's sending that over the banking system because it touches like 10 people there in that process. So you just can't do it. And that's what Bitcoin allows for. And Lightning is micropayments and this kind of stuff. So really badass, in my opinion. $1.52, walking the dog in a frozen lake. Actually, you know what? I might take Arnie on the lake today. I haven't been out on the lake much. It is definitely frozen though. Brennan, good morning. Understanding Bitcoin's economics, code, decentralization, game theory is such a special superpower. Agreed. BTC Hunger Pains, much love to you from Texas. I appreciate all the advice in chat. I'm so glad you don't talk about shit coins. Well, good morning from Canada here. Cheers. Shitcoins are going to be around. I think we just need to kind of accept that. Meme coins essentially are just gambling now. It's literally just gambling. But the odds are very much stacked against you, more so than gambling. I don't mind gambling. I don't mind betting on sports and going to play roulette at the casino if I'm there. But like meme coins, not for me. And that's all it is. And, you know, at least 4 years ago at this time, when all these different coins were coming out, like Cardano, Litecoins has been around for a long time. But like, I don't know, all these different coins. Through the last couple of years, there's been Caspa. There's been a lot of these things that claim to be a better Bitcoin and claim to have utility and claim to have community. And I think the one thing that's really we've broken away from within Bitcoin is like all that stuff. Nobody's even trying to compete with Bitcoin anymore. It's literally just gambling and stupidity. So yeah, don't say the T word. True, we don't need the boss showing up today. But I see Ahsoka zapped 88 sats over on Fountain. Said on Fountain, you can use the slider next to the zap button to set a custom zap amount. Cool. And Plunger says, Plunger zapped 10 and another 10 and said Fountain is pretty smooth even compared to Amethyst, which is really cool because Amethyst is high end. And Daniel zapped 88 sats. Love the slider. Cool. All right, so let's carry on here. Let's go to the next piece of, I don't know if we call that news or not, but something cool. That's the Noster news for today. All right, that's Sailor. We're going to get to that in a sec. I want to see this one. Oh, or should we? Okay, let's check this out. CBC News, our favorite government-funded news source here in Canada. Bird Meadow, look at this. Thanks for the stream. Thoughts on Tap Signer? Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. And I appreciate the, if you want your question answered for sure, send in Zap or send in a super chat. I'm usually pretty good with answering all questions, but I appreciate the super chat here. My thoughts on Tap Signer, to be honest with you, I've never used it. I think it's going to be a big part of the future. I do. I mean, we're already used to that kind of process with things. I did order I think it was the NFC device from Coldcard. I just wanted to try it out. I haven't tried it yet. But Tap Signer, I think that's what you're referring to anyways, is like something that you can sign a transaction by tapping it with like NFC. I think it's going to be a big part of it. And I think that if we want to really make Bitcoin mainstream, we have to make it meet people where they're at. And people are comfortable with tapping things to send payments to people. So I think you can already kind of do that with Lightning. Maybe not. I guess I use Bitcoin with ShakePay and tap that way. But yeah, it's going to be a big part of it. If all businesses are going to be accepting Bitcoin and Lightning, you're going to have to be trusting that, I guess. But the better understanding I think you have within Bitcoin, you'll have like your savings locked up in cold storage that never moves. And then you'll have like an amount on your phone. Maybe if you use something like a Tap Signer that you kind of load a little bit of funds onto, I think it's going to be a really good way to separate The privacy there, where you don't have to send Bitcoin from like your regular address, you can kind of structure it in a way where you don't compromise all of your privacy by sending Bitcoin to somebody. So honestly, I'm not an expert on it. I don't claim to be. I haven't spent enough time on it, but that's kind of my initial thoughts on it today. Something I want to look into further in the future, though. And there's a lot of things like that. But anyways, thanks again for the super chat. I appreciate that a lot. But let's check in with Canada's government-funded media here. CBC News. $1 trillion tsunami. Canadians grapple with unprecedented wealth transfer. Aging baby boomers are passing down a record amount of money to their children. And I don't really need to, we don't need to look too far into this, I don't think, to see, what's going on here. I think the key thing to keep in mind here with an article like this is that, yes, baby boomers are getting older. I don't know what the cutoff is there, but I think it's maybe like 60 years old. So there's a lot of baby boomers who have a lot of life left. So it's kind of hard to label like one specific segment because baby boomers is a large range of age. And so some baby boomers are closer to passing down their wealth than others. But I think this is an important thing to be thinking about right now. And this is something that Kathy Wood pointed out within her little speech she gave about Bitcoin, which was that Gen X and millennials don't want gold. They don't want the assets that the baby boomers are holding right now. So baby boomers, it can resist all they want. They can, fight Bitcoin all they want. But when that wealth gets transferred down to their kids, the majority of that is going to flow into Bitcoin. That's what Gen X and millennials want to hold is Bitcoin. They don't care about any other asset. So this is just like one country, Canada. You got $1 trillion being passed down. The majority of that, in my opinion, is going to flow into Bitcoin. And then you apply that to every other country on this planet, and the exact same thing is going to happen. So that alone, that's like the individual level. That's before all the countries show up, in the states, and the corporations, and the corporations is a big one. The institutions, the funds, and then you got the AI and the robots who are going to be accepting and transacting in Bitcoin. So if you have any ounce of concern for Bitcoin and like the future price of Bitcoin, the purchasing power, you don't have to look too far to figure out, what's coming here. So baby boomers are pretty much in the driver's seat right now. They are the ones who get to decide how fast this thing moves. But either way, it's absolutely inevitable that money, their wealth, is eventually going to flow into Bitcoin. Without a doubt. All right, what's next? I want to get to Sailor here soon. What's this? Oh, Sailor again. I got a couple different emails here about Sailor, but we're going to watch a longer clip. Lotnik. Was there anything else I had here? No. Okay, that's it. So we'll get to Sailor in just a sec here, actually. All right. Andrew says, thinking about doing a multi-sig with a cold card. Is there any advantage to buying a cold card Q over the MK4? That's a good question. I would say a couple things with multi-sig. If anybody's trying to take this on themselves right now, I would say a couple different things. Number one, I would strongly consider getting a device from different manufacturers. It kind of reduces any sort of chance of rug. So what I mean by that is, and again, I kind of go back and forth with this myself because I have a lot of trust in Cold Card and CoinKite. And I love their products. But one way to look at this is like, let's say you have a multi-sig with a Cold Card and a Jade and a Foundation Passport. If one of those companies, let's say that CoinKite actually turned out to be bad actors and they've been keeping a copy of all the seeds that were derived from the Cold Card. Not possible, I don't think, but I like putting my odds at 0% instead of, slight chance. So in a setup like that, even if CoinKite was a nefarious actor here, your Bitcoin's still safe. If you had all of your Bitcoin on a single SIG Cold Card, your Bitcoin's gone. in that case. So with this, you have Cold Card, Foundation, Passport, and a Jade. If one of those companies ends up being a bad actor, your Bitcoin's still fine. So that's the first thing I'd say with the multi-sig is try to get 3 different manufacturers, 3 different devices. The second one is make sure you're properly backing up your metadata, because when you set it up, you have all this information that you need that's based on that specific multi-sig wallet. And you have to back that up, and you have to know what information to be backing up. Because if something were to happen to the laptop that you set up your multi-sig configuration on, and you don't have that data backed up, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So multi-sig should not be taken lightly. That's what I would say. And if you need help with it, we have a couple people on our Bitcoin Citadel team that are more than happy to help you with your setup configuration, depending on how much help you need. I think it's probably a good step. Even if you don't need like a full consultation with somebody, I would still suggest setting up a call with somebody to just make sure you're, doing everything that you need to be doing. That call could be the difference between you having your Bitcoin in 10 years or 20 years and not having it. And if you're at the point where you need a multi-sig, I'm assuming you have a decent amount of Bitcoin there. So that's what I would say with a bit of caution there. But in terms of the Cold Card Q and the MK4, I don't see any difference. I love the MK4 myself, but I also love the Cold Card Q. Like the reason I like this one more, the kind of the main advantage with this, it's a little bit easier to navigate. There's a bigger screen. You can scan QR codes with it if you'd rather do it that way. But also it's got batteries in it. So I don't have to like be 2 feet away from the wall like I do with my MK4. It's a very flexible, you can kind of take it anywhere. You can also plug it in, like it's got a slot for a USB-C at the bottom here if you don't have batteries. But I just like the fact that it's more portable that way. So the whole process between the MK4 and the Q are pretty much identical. The security would be identical. It's just this one's a little bit easier to use, I find. But I also love the MK4. I love the looks of it. I love, I don't know. There's just something about the MK4 that I love. But I don't know if that answers your question. I'd say you can't really go wrong with the MK4 or the Q. Buck52, I told my financial advisor he needs to read the room. Wow. Good for you, man. I think we need a lot more people giving shit to their financial advisors. We need more of that. I call out financial advisors as much as I can. Actually, I'm going to be sharing a clip on the channel today from the show Bitcoin Generations yesterday about financial advisors. I'm going to share it on the channel today or tomorrow. Anyways, we got another zap here. A fat zap. Wow. 5,000 sats, completely anonymous. That is amazing. That's to our guy Arnie's wallet here. Actually, speaking of that, let's give away a little bit of biddy. Letha zap 10 sats. She got the fountain working, it looks like. Josh says, you're right, Jor. I'm Gen X, and the only reason I have any fiat in the legacy system is because of the TFSA and my mortgage. Otherwise, I invest more into Bitcoin than any other asset. Yeah, 100%. And that's Gen X. And I think millennials would be even more so further on that curve. So it's coming. It's just a matter of when. Matt zapped 88 sats. Craig's in the chat. Happy Friday, Jordan friends. Letha zapped another 10 sats. Unknown Disciple says Passport is king. I wouldn't say it's king, but I'm a fan of the Passport. I think it's a really solid device. I think it's really easy to use. It has pretty much the exact same code, I believe, as the Cold Card. I think the Cold Card was actually derived from the Passport code, if I'm not mistaken. Plus, it's fully open source. The only thing I don't like as much about the Passport is that it's from overseas. So if you're in Canada here, you're going to have to pay some import charges. You're going to have to cross through more borders. It's more of a hassle. So that's why I like if you're in Canada, that's why I suggest a Cold Card. I actually have a link in the show notes here if you want. I think you get 5% off a Cold Card if you use my link. So if you're in the market, definitely take advantage of even if it's 5% off, it's better than a kick in the ass. or using a company like QuickBit in Regina, where if you wanted like a Blockstream Jade, you get the stamp seed, you get the Jade, and it's not crossing any borders. There's no import charges there. So that's what I would say. And if you have any questions or need some help with that, just shoot me an email so we can set up a quick call and I can kind of point you in the right direction there for a hardware device. So jor@bitcoincitadel.net. What else we got here? Oh, Craig zapped 2.1 thousand sats. Kids are here listening. Okay, I'll try not to drop too many F-bombs here, Craig. Anyways, thank you, Craig. Appreciate that. Craig and I had a very, I guess it wouldn't be early morning for him, but a meeting at 6 a.m. today with Craig. So if anybody's seen me at my worst within this community here, it's Craig, about 5 minutes after opening my eyes for the day. So thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. MadZapped88 said, what are your thoughts on the BitKey for a simple beginner-friendly multi-dog solution? Multi-sig solution? Must be multi-sig. Multi-dog would be cool too. I'm in the process of getting a multi-dog solution myself. But yeah, BitKey's great. I haven't used it myself. I love the idea of it though. I think that it's great for somebody who's brand new to Bitcoin and has a decent amount of Bitcoin in their possession. But you know, you're still trusting people there. Because you hold one key essentially with a BitKey, and two other companies hold the other two keys there. So in that situation, it's pretty much impossible for you to lose your Bitcoin, which at that stage of the game, I would say is very important. But the problem there is that if those two companies colluded, they could take your Bitcoin without you having any say in it. And yes, I would say it's very unlikely, especially at this stage. But when Bitcoin's 10 million, 100 million, it's a totally different ball game. And we have no idea what's going to happen at that stage. So when we get to that point, you don't want to have any sort of vulnerability there that you could lose your Bitcoin. So I think it's great right now for a beginner. I love that model, but there's holes in it for sure. So that's kind of what I would say on that. Letha said the passport was more simple for me to learn than the cold card. Good to know. Good to know. I don't know. There's just a bunch of NPub chat in here. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, we'll keep going here. We'll keep moving. Old Cat. Explain the difference between a multi-sig and using a passphrase as a 25th word. That's a good question. And actually, a single sig with a passphrase is a really good place to start for people. It is. But again, I would say if you have more than $50,000 worth of Bitcoin right now, you should be skipping over that phase. You should be in multi-sig. The difference there, I guess, would be the fact that it really depends on how you're storing your device. So essentially what the question is here is with a single sig wallet, you can add a passphrase on top of that, the 25th word, which essentially creates a brand new wallet. And you can move Bitcoin into that with the 25th word, that wallet. And that's kind of hidden behind your original wallet. So let's say that I had this cold card Q as my single sig wallet. And I derive the key, I load some Bitcoin onto there, and then I add a passphrase to it. So it's essentially how you create a decoy wallet. Whereas if somebody found this device, they were able to get into it, they would see my original wallet that I set up. But what you do with the passphrase is you add a second wallet that's kind of hidden behind that original one. So they wouldn't know that I had a passphrase wallet on this if somebody got access to this. And so it is a really good way to protect that from like your single point of failure. But the problem comes with how you're storing it. Because, and it would also be very hard to, how can I say this? The reason why I like something like an encryption in terms of your recovery versus like a 25th word is that in certain scenarios, like let's say you had to leave the country tomorrow, and you had to get your Bitcoin with you on that airplane and get to your new destination. With this situation, you're either going to have to bring your device or you're going to have to bring your 25 words. That's kind of your only two options. Or you memorize it, I guess. That's one option, but that's pretty difficult to memorize 25 words. But you're going to have to hop on that airplane with either the device or the 25 words, which is possible, could be done, but there's issues with that could come up. Whereas if you have like a multi-sig with encrypted backups, you could literally send a QR code across the world to wherever you're going to. You just have to memorize one single password with it. And then when you get there, you can restore it. You can restore your 24 words. So there's probably a couple different ones. And I actually did a full presentation on this let me see if I can find it here quickly. For the private show on Wednesday, we actually went through a whole, hold on. A whole scenario here of like, let me bring this up here quickly. You can actually, if you join the Patreon, even the free member, you can watch the video that I did from Wednesday on this. So this is kind of like the threat models that everybody has that you need to be thinking about. Fire, flood, break-in, hack. And then there's some soft characteristics here, like is it untraceable? Is there trust required? And is it flexible? So in the case of like a single sig device with your recovery phrase on steel, even with the passphrase, it really depends on how you're storing it. And it's not untraceable. You have to have either your device or your recovery phrase somewhere where you can access it. So it's not untraceable. And with the fire flood too, I mean, you could have both your passphrase and your multi-sig device or your single sig device in your house. And if your house burned down, your passphrase and your device and your recovery are all gone. If you're depends how you do it. That's kind of what I said when I started the conversation here, is like, it really depends on how you're doing it. You could do this, like this could still be fairly effective. And then the next stage from that is the multi-sig with a steel backup. And the main problem with that's like the highest level of security, if you ask most Bitcoiners, would be multi-sig with your backups on steel. But the problem with that kind of setup is that you have to trust two other people. So with a multi-sig, you could have one device at your house, which also doesn't work with the untraceable part of it. So then you'd have to trust three people if you didn't want it at your house. So you have to have at least two or three people in your life that you fully trust, that you could leave your devices with or your recovery phrases with. Whereas if you go encryption, you can send them QR codes where they have no idea what's on there. They have no idea that it's Bitcoin. They can't see the contents of it, anything. And you can still disperse it geographically and kind of get the best of both worlds there. So that's kind of like the pinnacle of your security, is like a multi-sig. And instead of steel backup, you're actually using encryption. It's all yeses, and it's the perfect setup. You don't have to trust anybody. There's no KYC involved. It's a perfect model. One's compliment said, where in Canada are you from? I'm from Manitoba. Do I ever come to Toronto? No, not yet. But I do plan on going to, a conference maybe in Toronto or Ottawa or Montreal sometime soon. And I got a couple buddies now in Toronto. So I'll probably be in Toronto at some point. It's not an easy drive for me, unfortunately. It's a flight, but I do want to get there. I've been to Toronto before. I actually was to be completely honest with you, I was very underwhelmed with Toronto. Not my kind of city. Anyway, somebody sent 44 sats here, anonymous. So thank you for that. All right. Duncan says, actually, we got a couple different questions here. Josh says, what about an air gap jade for up to half a Bitcoin with the passphrase? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of up to you. I really think that anybody with over $50,000 worth of Bitcoin should have a multi-sig. And you don't have to do it tomorrow. Keep that in mind. And even if you already have a Jade, you're off to a good start. You got one of your devices that you need for your 3 devices. So again, this isn't something you need to do tomorrow. You don't have to be like panicky or anything. Like Josh, you're fine with that. But if you're thinking about your 10, 20, 50 years from now, now is the time when you want to be setting this stuff up. So it's good, but it's not great. And within Bitcoin, when you're protecting the best asset that's ever been discovered in human history, you want to be great, not good. Actually, you don't even want to be great. You want to be the best form of security possible that exists. What else do we have here? Duncan says, do you think you could get through the airport security with a hardware wallet? I wouldn't try. You might be able to. I wouldn't try. I would rather take my 12 words on paper through an airport. But at the same time, it's plain text. That's the issue. And that's why with encryption, you could walk through an airport with a QR code. They have no idea what's on there. They could scan it. They could, try to pry it out from you, but they can't see what's on there. They have no idea. And you take one with you and you send one to the country that you're going to. And then, in that case, nobody can do anything with you. So it's the perfect setup, in my opinion. Craig says, cross borders with super backed encrypted blocks in a book. No worries, only one password to memorize. Exactly. Josh says, my next step is super backed for sure. Unknown Disciple says, Foundation Passport is integrating Monero in their new device. Josh says, I have the Decoy wallet, Old Ledger, my main wallet, Jade. Next will be a multi-sig. There you go. So you only need actually one more device in that scenario. So if you are somebody who has like your main stack and then a Decoy, you actually only need to have one more device added to that for a multi-sig. 88 sats meet up in the GTA, Jor. I wouldn't mind that. And Unknown Disciple says you can use a brain wallet for traveling. Speaking of brain wallet and this kind of stuff, we're going to give away some Bitcoin here first, but we'll listen to Michael Saylor talk about this exact thing right now. So let's get on to Bitcoin Well here for the first step. Oh, I hate these freaking security things. Yes, I'm a real human being. The worst is when you go through the CAPTCHA thing and then you have the wrong password. Then you have to do it twice. All right, let's give away some Bitcoin here. So get out your Lightning wallets, whatever you got as a Lightning wallet, get it out, press send. And some lucky person here is going to win some Bitcoin, some Biddy. So we'll do that right now. So these sats are courtesy of the Bitcoin Well, our favorite Bitcoin company in North America, Bitcoin Well, and the best platform to be buying and selling and swapping and paying bills with in Bitcoin. So I hope you got your Lightning wallets out. We're going to give this a spin or a toss, and good luck. Let's have a big one today. Let's have a biggie. 500. Hell yeah. We're still on a hot streak here, folks. We snapped the cold streak 1 week ago after about 2 weeks of 210 sats. I threw 5 coins into the wishing well to break our coldie. Thought I was going to have to cut ties with Bitcoin Well after that, but they haven't emailed me yet. They haven't contacted me. So, and ever since that, we've had 2,100 sats, 2,100 sats, 500, and 500 again today. So we've officially not only snapped the coldie, but we're on a hottie here, I would say. We'll call it a hottie. Okay, I got to get my shit together here before I put this video on. Okay, so congrats to whoever did that, whoever won that. That was from Bitcoin Well. So again, Bitcoin Well, not a sponsor of the show, but good relationship with them. And I highly encourage every single person watching the show, if you're from North America, to just give Bitcoin Well a try. They're on Team Bitcoin. They got the lowest fees in North America, maybe the world. and they got the best platform. You can buy, sell, set up a recurring buy, you can pay bills, and you can swap for free, which is kind of cool. I've had a lot of people in the last couple of months say, Jor, I want to set up a Lightning wallet. How do I get my Bitcoin off of my hardware device and onto Lightning? And now you can actually use Bitcoin Well for free. So if you use a service like a wallet like Aqua, it's great. Aqua's great. I use Aqua pretty much every day, but it costs fees. It costs about 500 to 1,000, depending on how busy the mempool is. But it costs fees to do with Aqua. So with Bitcoin Well, you can actually swap between on-chain and Lightning, layer 1, layer 2, for free. So that's what I would say if you're thinking about. If you're not 100% satisfied with your current way of buying and obtaining Bitcoin, definitely give Bitcoin Well a try at least. I think you'll stick with them forever, but at least give them a try. Throw a couple $100 in there, go through the process, see how you like it. They actually don't hold anybody's Bitcoin, which I love. That's why I'm so happy to promote them on the channel here, is because there's no risk to me. There's no risk to anybody ever losing their Bitcoin to Bitcoin Well, because they don't hold any Bitcoin. As soon as you send them dollars, they send you Bitcoin, which is how it should be, in my opinion. All right, let's see what else we got here. Jessen, I'm relatively new to Bitcoin. I've done just the tip of the iceberg in studying, but I'm a bit confused which single sig wallet is ideal for me. Have about 300,000 Satoshis. Advice. Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I would say to you, that's a tough one, honestly, because my first thought here, let me get Bitcoin Well off. Anyways, if you want to join Bitcoin Well, you can get 5 free tosses into the wishing well using that link. So back to this question here. So which single sig wallet is ideal for me? Have about 300,000 Satoshis. So the first thing I would say, and I know you kind of needed to have that within the question here, but the first thing I would say is never tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have. That's rule number 1. I'm assuming you'll get more hopefully in the future. But even so, don't past this point today. Don't tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have. Anybody. Even if you were to set up a call with me and like get help with a multi or a single sig or anything, don't tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have. It's not necessary. So that's number 1. And I don't mean to sound like a dick there. I'm just saying like it's not a good idea to ever tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have under any circumstances. But the second thing I would say to that is that I would usually tell people at that stage, instead of buying like a single sig device or a hardware device, I would probably just take that money and buy more Bitcoin right now. So it really depends on your financial situation, though. If you're just kind of getting into Bitcoin and you have a bunch of capital that you could allocate to Bitcoin at any time, then yes, make sure you have a hardware device, make sure you learn how to use it, get it set up, and then buy more Bitcoin. But if you're somebody who doesn't have a whole lot and you're just trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can right now, I would honestly skip that. I would skip the hardware device for now and just buy Bitcoin. In a couple months, maybe revisit it once you get to like 1 million sats. Then you look into a hardware wallet. And in that situation, I would just use the Aqua wallet. I would just download it on your phone. You can search it in the App Store. It's called Aqua, AQUA. I think you can find it at aqua.net. I'm just going to double check that for you though. Aqua.net. Yes, that's what it is. So you can just download the wallet there for free. Send your Bitcoin to that from the exchange. And then just wait a little while. Get some more sats, and then get a hardware device. But yeah, what I usually tell people is like get a Jade, get a Foundation, Passport, or a Cold Card. That's kind of my 3 that I usually recommend in terms of a hardware device. But the one thing I would say here, Jessen, is like if you're, again, somewhat new, set up a call. And it would be better. It's a lot more beneficial than trying to have a conversation through YouTube here. So I have a new thing on my website or my link, my Calendly, where you can actually just set up like a 15, 30-minute call, value for value. There's no like upfront payment. There's no hourly rate. you can just set up a call. And if you have any specific questions or need some like direction, you can just set up a call and you can send me any amount that you think the call is worth to you through Bitcoin, through PayPal, whatever. But it really depends on your specific situation. There's no real clear answers within Bitcoin. So I hope that helps a little bit at least. What's my opinion on Swan? I would avoid Swan. That's all I'll say about Swan. Nitney. What live stream software do you use? I use StreamYard. I love StreamYard, actually. I just noticed that Rumble now has a studio, though, so I might give that a shot sometime today. So you might see another notification saying George Live, but I'll just be testing things out. But I do want to try the Rumble studio. But StreamYard, yeah, if you want a referral link, this applies to anybody out there. I think I have a referral link that basically gets you the first month free, like a $25 credit. It's a paid account, but I can stream up to like 3 different places. So I stream to YouTube, I stream to Rumble most days, not today, because I forgot to do it, and then Zapstream or Fountain now. So it's pretty cool. It's a really good, I've been using it for a couple of years now. I haven't had any sort of issues with it. So if you do want a referral, if you want like a free month, just shoot me an email. I don't mean to be showing all this stuff, but I just think if you're using these anyways, you might as well get something back for it. Whether that's Bitcoin Well, whether that's like 5% off a Start 9 or Cold Card, or even StreamYard account. I think you're crazy if you're not using referral codes nowadays. You always get something. Santino. Look at this, gifted 5 sats, 88 sats radio memberships to people. Thank you, Santino. That's awesome. 5 lucky people out there today. All right, what else we got over here? Josh says, Bitcoin Well might not care how you dole out the tosses once they give them to you, which is cool. Yeah, that's true. Dole out, yeah, I got you. I know what you're saying. Yeah, no, Bitcoin Well is really solid. I get along with the guys very well there. Adam, Conrad. And so I'm just kind of bugging with that. I don't think that they would actually care. They wouldn't care if I gave 10 away the first show of the month. They're not paying me or anything. I just agreed to kind of do this because it gives back to the community here. Like all these sats that we give away every day are from Bitcoin Well. So I think that if you are subjected to like ads on a show, you should be rewarded for that. And so it kind of goes along with my beliefs, which is good. All right, let's go back to, let me just find this. I'm going to mute myself for just 1 sec, make sure we're in the right spot. Sorry, 30 seconds of 30 seconds of silence there. That's the kind of stuff you get on a live stream. Oh, I put the sleep charm on. That's not what I wanted to do. Off. Okay, so we're going to watch this. I'll put this at like 1.5, 1.25. But this is kind of like the second half of Sailor's chat yesterday at CPAC. So we're going to start here. We'll maybe watch it for like 5 or 10 minutes. But there's some really good analogies and really good information in this, as usual, from Sailor. So let's check this out. I'll put it on, and I don't know when we'll stop it, but we'll start it.
Understands the value of owning scarce, desirable property. If we go to cyberspace, and I think that President Trump understands the value of owning scarce, desirable property. If we go to cyberspace and we buy Bitcoin and the nation embraces Bitcoin, then all of the capital in the world, all of the Chinese money, all the Russian money, all the European money, all of the money from the 20th century, the money invested in a Siberian warehouse, the money invested in fill in the blank, anything you could possibly own in Africa, all of that capital is flowing into cyberspace. It's going from physical to digital. It's flowing from the 20th century to the 21st century. The 21st century is going to be a billion AIs thinking a million times a second. And what are they going to be using to move their money around? They're going to use digital money because they can't get a bank account. They can't get a credit card. I have to approve my wire transfers from my bank once a week. It takes about 20 minutes, and they ask me on the phone whether the money should move.
It's a good problem. What's 478,740 Bitcoin, Michael?
The computers.
We don't feel too bad, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get it. But my point we've been doing it that way for 50 years. And if you look at the way the digital economy is going to run in the 21st century, it's going to be a billion computers thinking a million times a second, moving assets at the speed of light. Bitcoin represents digital capital. That network is $2 trillion today. It's going to be $20 trillion in 4 to 8 years. It's going to be $200 trillion in 20 years. Then it's going to grow faster than every other asset in the world. It's going to continue to grow. The United States should own it, right?
Is that the conversation? Talk to us about the U.S. Bitcoin Reserve, everyone. And we've heard a couple other coins being yelled out by the crowd. And people want to know, are we going to have a U.S. Bitcoin Reserve? And when is that going to happen?
The way to think about Bitcoin is it's the most powerful digital network in the world. It is cyber power. If you want to dominate the next 100 years, just like the last 100 years is based upon dominating sea power, fire power, air power, space power, nuclear power. You want to dominate cyberspace. You want cyber power. It's the unstoppable network that no one can corrupt. And the use of the unstoppable network, among other things, is hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital moving from point A to point B. But the other use of the network is I can send a message which is unstoppable, and I can store information that is unstoppable, and I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt the authenticity of an instruction or a document. No country, no company, no individual, not a trillion computers can corrupt that message. So if you want to own the future, you want to own cyberspace. How do you own cyberspace? You own Bitcoin, and then you run the Bitcoin network. You mine Bitcoin, you own Bitcoin. President Trump understands property. He understands the value of Greenland. He understands the value of Alaska. He understands the value of oil rights. He understands drill, baby, drill would be impossible if we didn't own the land, right?
He understands American dominance.
And land is physical property. When I run electricity through semiconductors and I create a wall of encrypted energy, I create digital property. Bitcoin is digital property. You should own it. Your company should own it. Our nation should own it. It is the future.
In your perspective, how soon do you think we're going to be buying Bitcoin and have within our U.S. Reserve at a timeline? It's going to be 12 months, 24 months?
I think there's an appreciation of the power of Bitcoin throughout the cabinet, throughout the House, throughout the Senate. There's going to be a political process by which we build consensus with the White House, the House, the Senate, and the cabinet, and find the right way through. But what I would say on this topic is the U.S. could own 20% of the network like that for free. The dollar would strengthen, the nation would be enriched. And the real promise is if you own 4 to 6 million Bitcoin, you're going to pay off the entire national debt. You're going to neutralize it. We can generate a $50 trillion to $80 trillion benefit to the United States people, to the citizens, to the taxpayers. And we can do it simply by seeing the future. It cost $6 million to buy Alaska. The payoff was $1 trillion. Just like right now, you can literally buy it for a song and dance. That's the opportunity. The risk is that you wouldn't want the Saudis to buy it first, or the Russians or the Chinese or the Europeans. And there's only room for one nation state to buy up 20% of the network. And obviously, I think it should be the United States. I think it will be the United States. It's a way for us to enrich ourselves and emerge as a creditor nation in a matter of a decade. It's also a way for us to ensure that we're the economic leaders in cyberspace and the digital economy for the next 100 years. And if we do that, every one of our allies will follow us, and then all of our enemies will end up having to buy into the network once it passes 10 or 20 million a coin, and they will enrich us.
And we saw that just yesterday. President Trump was in Miami, and he was talking about Bitcoin. The Bitcoin Reserve is a touchy subject. A lot of people want to know what other coins within the digital asset industry are going to be involved. The U.S. does not just hold just gold and oil within our reserve. It holds up to 27 other trace minerals. And so we're completely diversified. Do you see room for another digital asset to be included in the Bitcoin Reserve or the U.S. financial reserve system?
I think the key thing to keep in mind right now is that Bitcoin is a commodity. It is an asset without an issuer. There is no company, no individual, no country, no entity that can corrupt it. It has reached escape velocity. it has gotten to the point where it is basically a freedom virus, a truth virus, a monetary virus. It has been embraced by $1 trillion of smart money. That is, $1 trillion of real money has been invested in the network. It is 99% of the digital power on Earth. It's fairly unstoppable. And so if you're going to capitalize a company or a country, you want to capitalize it on property or a commodity or a network which is beyond the point where anybody could change the nature of it. And so that makes Bitcoin the most certain thing in the digital universe.
And when you talk about certainty and when you talk about truth, over the last 4 years, we've experienced as a culture travesty. We haven't been able to speak. We've been censored. What is Bitcoin to you? What do you see that others don't? And how can conservatives capitalize on the opportunity to take advantage and make sure that America is dominating our future, that we have the economic freedoms, that our children and our families in America will stay at the front runner of this industry?
What I would say to everybody in this room is if you want freedom, if you want liberty, if you want to live your finest life, you're going to need economic power. You need physical power, you need political power, but you need economic power. Bitcoin represents economic armor. When you put on the suit of armor, then no mayor, no government, no collectivist, no socialist can debank you. They can't take your money away. They can't impoverish you. Just like a gun is a deterrent, Bitcoin is a deterrent, because if you have wealth in Bitcoin, you have the option to move it to any jurisdiction and you can keep it, and no one can take it away from you by a force of violence, no matter where you are on Earth. And so Satoshi gave us an opportunity. I hope I intrigue all of you with the opportunity and you go do the research and determine for yourself how you benefit from it. But I just leave you with the thought that Bitcoin is economic armor.
You have, Michael. Thank you. God willing, we have as much Bitcoin as Michael one day. This is a defining moment.
Yeah, good luck getting as much as Sailor. I don't think that any country, company, any entity will ever get as much Bitcoin as that guy has. But I love that. He said, if you want to live your finest life, store your time and energy in Bitcoin. He called it economic armor, which I absolutely love. And we spent the majority of the show today talking about security and things you have to be thinking about in the worst case scenario, like fire, like theft, like your country turning against you. Bitcoin, if done properly. And the unfortunate thing about that is when he speaks, he kind of assumes that everybody's going to jump into Bitcoin and be well set up for it. But that's not the case at all. A lot of people, I would say like 95% of people who own Bitcoin right now are not using it as economic armor. They're just not. There's a way to do it. Of course, you got to spend a lot of your time and your energy to learn how to do that with multisig, with encryption. And when you finally have it at that point, then you are fully protected from anything. Your family is fully protected from anything economically. So that's kind of where you want to get to. And I think he's absolutely right. I think that that's a really good way to put it in terms of economic armor. I think that that's how we should be all thinking about Bitcoin, as economic armor. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to protect our purchasing power, and we're trying to protect our finance and our wealth against these potential attack vectors, like government. Like Bitcoin's the only asset that you can truly own. And when you understand that and you get to that point, then nothing else really makes sense to hold, regardless of its performance. And you could say, well, I could own gold. Yes, but somebody breaks in your house, they can take your gold. If you have your Bitcoin set up properly and properly dispersed, somebody breaks in your house, you could have no trace of Bitcoin in there. You could either have it in your head or you could have it dispersed. You can't do that with gold. Right? We have to understand that. You cannot disperse gold, because if you're dispersing gold, you're trusting somebody else to hold that for you. With Bitcoin, you can have that exact same setup. You can disperse it, but nobody can take it from you. Nobody even knows what's in that if it's done properly. So that's the whole value add for Bitcoin, aside from the million other things that it does great. But it is true economic armor. So important to understand, I think, for everybody here. Troy says, good morning. Speaking of security, Bybit hacked 1.5 billion, Bitcoin crashing. So it looks like it was 1.5 billion worth of ETH. Oof. It's just too easy. It's too easy with ETH. Like, give us a challenge here at least. Poor ETH. Not poor, actually. I've been warning people for years now to sell their Ethereum for Bitcoin. Justin says, I appreciate the advice, by the way. Thank you. And hopefully, if possible, now that I know, you could blur my name if you post this. Okay. So what I would say to that, Jess, is that I won't share that clip. I won't post it on my channel. So pretty much you've kind of doxed yourself within this thing here, but there's probably going to be like 500 people on the whole earth that watch the show today. So it's not a big deal here. The problem is, and this is kind of for everybody, not just Jess, the problem is more so along the lines of like you telling your friends or your even family members or your coworkers, like people within your community, within your town. I would say that you can talk about Bitcoin. You can help grow the Bitcoin network. You can have conversations about it, but just don't ever tell anybody how much you have, because that kind of stuff, for some reason, there's something within our human brains triggers something where if you told somebody that you had 1 million sats, they're going to remember that in 20 years from now. So again, it's not a big deal. Like on the YouTube channel, there's nobody that's going to, there's going to be a very small amount of people who actually see this show. So I'm more talking about like within your personal physical network of telling people that, because you're going to put a target on your back that you don't really need. So anyways, Daniel says advice, don't dox your stack. Yes. So it's been a great Fad Zap Friday today. We got a couple Fad Zaps here. One from Letha, 8,888. One from Josh, 888. And then a bunch. I don't know if it was Fad Zap Friday today or a fat amount of small zaps Friday today. But anyways, I'm very happy. I'm blown away by the integration with Fountain here. I think it's going to be a big boost for the community here, I guess. The reach of this show, if it's on Fountain now, that's badass. The kid says, don't even tell your mama. I agree with that. Truly do. Oh, look who shut up. Hello. What can we do for you, my friend? Why is your tail wagging like that? What do you think we're doing? Oh, look at this. Nice up and close. What are you doing out there? At least you stopped whining. Thanks for letting us dial in here without the whines. Thank you. And I forgot another one here. We had 1.1 thousand sats and a 5,000 sat zap as well from to our guy right here, Arnie. You want to say thanks? Say thanks. Okay. Or just stare at me. Wish Arnie could talk. No, not like that. Anyways, let's. Bailey says, could you stream from Fountain on your end? I mean, it just kind of showed up on Fountain today. Like I didn't do anything there, which is awesome because I was a little bit overwhelmed. I'm not going to lie. It said I had to like download these different apps, download this plugin, connect them, then Fountain should show up on Fountain. But I literally did nothing. We're still live here, buddy. I did nothing and it just showed up on Fountain, which is really cool to me. So anyways, last Friday we did an afternoon stream. We're not going to do that today, unfortunately. But we will have, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I'd say. Yeah, probably 2 weeks. We're going to have the Maple Bitcoin every Friday. I think it's going to be Friday. It's going to be once a week. Rajat, I don't even know how to say it. I should probably ask him before I say it 1,000 more times. Rajat Forrest from Bitcoin Not Crypto and myself are going to be doing live streams once a week together. Just a really good place for people to come and hang out, ask any questions, talk about the stuff we've been talking about today, and get a couple different perspectives. Three Canadians united by Bitcoin. So make sure if you haven't yet, head over there, We've been on here for about a week and a half. We got 862 subscribers already, which is kind of cool. I've only shared 5 videos. But there's a couple good ones. There'll be another one coming out tomorrow, a brand new video that hasn't been seen anywhere else. And then we're going to start doing live streams. So again, make sure if you haven't yet, subscribe to the Maple Bitcoin channel and set the notifications. It looks like mine are personalized here. So you can set the notifications so you don't miss any new videos and you don't miss any live streams on the Maple Bitcoin channel. Looking forward to that. I think it's going to be very, very big. Mostly because it's going to be more of like a for everybody kind of thing. My channel, my show is definitely not for everybody. I think it's an acquired taste, you might say. But Maple Bitcoin is going to be for everybody. Less swearing, less politics, less conspiracy stuff. I'll probably mix in some conspiracy stuff. But for the most part, I think that's going to be a pretty big channel within the Bitcoin world. And it's important too, because as somebody mentioned earlier in the show, I forget what it was from, but where was it here? I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter much. But they said, importance of focusing on Bitcoin only. And there's not a whole lot of channels that exist online right now that are Bitcoin only. So this channel is for sure, but the Maple Bitcoin is going to be a really great place where you can send your friends, family, coworkers, and learn some stuff yourself. So again, make sure if you haven't yet, check out the Maple Bitcoin and go subscribe over there. When will the live streams? Line trash. I don't know yet. It's going to be once a week. What's going on here? Hello? Okay, we're just going to go. We're going to be blurry for the rest of the show, I guess. But I think it's going to be Fridays. Sorry, this is annoying. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. There we go. Hoping Friday, but we don't really have a date yet for sure, but it's going to be once a week. So that's it today, everybody. Thanks for being here. And I look forward to chatting again on Monday. So keep an eye out on the channel. I'm going to still be releasing a couple videos tomorrow and Sunday, some new ones. So Bangerang says, how does Sailor come up with these talking points? I wonder the same. He seems like he might have a chip inside of his head, honestly. He might be an AI, walking AI. But yeah, lots of wild analogies there. He does pretty good, though. He does a really good job of kind of explaining the importance of it to the average person, I think. So thanks again once for all the zaps for Arnie. And good to see everybody on Fountain. We had probably our most active chat in Bitcoin journey history today on Fountain. So it's good to see. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.